Hello, dear friends. Everyone is saying the wolf is coming, but we have already been warned. So, less wolves. Opinion piece. Collapse or transformation. Financial crisis. Difficult period. Turbulent times. Spectacular crash. Classic breakdown. Markets are stressed. Economic sovereignty. Multi-billionaire panic. First part of the change. The market is exploding. Unsustainable conditions. Replacing the debt systems. Crossing two different realities. You can run, but you can't hide. Hurricane would affect everyone. The winds of change are sweeping. Shadow of the past, light of the present. Let's start. Some millionaires have become apocalyptic because they are warning of a possible global collapse of the monetary and political order. However, what is striking is that they rarely mention the need or possibility of implementing a new, fairer or more equitable financial system. This kind of collapse only happens once in a lifetime, but it has happened many times in history, said billionaire Ray Dalio. In other words, this would not be a novelty, but rather a historical repetition, albeit with new faces and new means. Elon Musk also warned of a possible global collapse in a few months due to a potential global energy crisis caused by an electrical drought stemming from an unprecedented crisis in the electricity supply. He emphasized that energy consumption would experience an exponential increase, and one of the causes would be the rapid growth of artificial intelligence. Collapse means the destruction or ruin of an institution, system, or structure. The term global collapse refers to a process that involves a complete and global decline in various areas. Political collapse implies the failure of a system of government. Economic collapse occurs when the productive and commercial activity of several countries declines, causing business bankruptcies, job losses, and a decrease in purchasing power. New system. A new, non-globalist financial system would entail breaking with many of the current principles of the global economic system, which is highly centralized and dominated by institutions such as the IMF, the World Bank, and large international private banks. It would be built on principles of economic sovereignty, decentralization, social justice, and local autonomy. Instead of relying on centralized and supranational structures, it would seek to strengthen the local and regional economy with its own currencies, ethical and cooperative banking systems, and policies that prioritize community well-being over transnational profit. It would involve replacing the global debt system, that is, abandoning the system based on perpetual debt and compound interest as an engine of growth. It would also entail economic sovereignty, where each country would regain control of its monetary policy without external interference, with citizen oversight and transparency, through the use of blockchain or similar technology to prevent financial corruption. This would bring about ethical and cooperative banking with non-profit or citizen-controlled banks, and monetary decentralization through the use of local currencies, sovereign cryptocurrencies, or modern barter systems. Economic recovery is the process by which an economy emerges from a recession or crisis and begins to show signs of growth and improvement in key indicators such as employment, production, consumption, and investment. During this stage, market confidence is restored, economic activity increases, and the financial uncertainty decreases. Crash. Too much attention is paid to tariffs and their potential impact on the economy and markets, but the larger changes taking place in major monetary, political, and geopolitical systems are overlooked. Billionaire Ray Dalio said Monday. In an article published on his X account, Dalio stated that while the introduction of tariffs is an important topic, many people overlook the circumstances that led to them and the larger disruptions that lie ahead. In quotes, the most important thing to keep in mind is that we are seeing a classic breakdown of major monetary, political, and geopolitical orders. This type of collapse occurs only once in a lifetime, but it has happened many times in history when similar unsustainable conditions occurred. He continued. According to Dalio, the monetary order is crumbling because there is too much debt, which is growing rapidly, and the capital markets and economies are supported by this debt in the existing economies. This is unsustainable due to the existing imbalance between borrowers and lenders, like China. The former have excessive debt and take on more obligations to finance their spending, while the latter, which also have excess debt, sell goods to borrowers to sustain their economies, Dalio explained. It's clear that the monetary order will have to change disruptively to reduce all these imbalances and excesses, and we are in the first part of the process of change, he added. The international geopolitical order is also crumbling, the billionaire asserts, adding that this is because the era of dominant power dictating to others is over. Finally, Dalio urges us not to let dramatic changes such as tariffs divert attention from the larger forces that are the two drivers of global change. It is useful to keep in mind that what is happening now is merely a contemporary version of what has happened countless times throughout history, he concluded. Hurricane. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said that a violent hurricane is approaching that will affect everyone, and that global growth is likely to slow down and some major economies may even enter recession, he predicted. It is understood that the trade wars that have erupted around custom tariffs will have a global impact. It would not be an exaggeration to say that the violent hurricane is approaching that will affect everyone, large and small, he declared in a speech before the Turkish parliament. Noting that the global economy is undergoing a difficult test, Erdogan stated that international trade wars have reached a new level in the past week, as tariff disputes escalate and rhetoric intensifies. He also indicated that the aftershocks of the earthquake in the capital markets have not yet settled, adding that the situation is expected to affect the global economy in three ways: through a contraction in trade volume and disruption of global supply chains, as well as increased inflationary pressure, through a deepening environment of uncertainty, which will lead to a loss of confidence in the markets, and through fluctuating commodity prices. As a result of all this, it is very likely that the pace of global growth will slow down, and some major economies will even enter a recession, the president predicted. On the other hand, Erdogan believes that the global system that was built after the World War II and strengthened with the end of the Cold War is cracking at its core. According to the president, we are seeing the emergence of a more protectionist structure in place of the neoliberal economy and political order, as the world is rapidly transitioning from a unipolar to a multipolar architecture, especially in terms of economic and military capability. Breaking news. A spectacular meltdown. The stock market is melting down, triggering a multi-trillion-dollar liquidation panic. China strikes back, increases tariffs on US products to 84% as the trade war goes nuclear. In a financial Kessler effect, every critical element shatters into dangerous debris that cascades throughout the global system. The gold standard is back. Currencies must rethink what backing means. Post-crisis syndrome. Markets are stressed, fragile, and need time to recover. Moscow is hit by a major snowstorm, causing driver problems. Ukraine captures Chinese national fighting for Russia. The White House considers withdrawing 10,000 troops from Eastern Europe. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt confirmed to the press that DOGE has made a massive discovery that is not yet ready for publication. The UN Secretary General said that Gaza is a killing field. Messages. We are seeing signs of the return of Christ consciousness. We don't need organized religion to tell us that the spiritual awakening is on the way. If people understood that thoughts generate karma, they would strive to preserve their minds and not engage in low-frequency thought forms, says Kesheresh. According to Pat Leger, I feel the intensity of both evil and the divine in the world. It's hard when you realize you have lost your innocence. Innocence is present when you see all the love and beauty in the world. That place you long for of peace, love, innocence, and acceptance can only be found now in this present moment. It is here right now. You can only experience what is here, according to Master Sanya through Michael Hersey. You have come from the spiritual realms, and to them you will return. This is not death, it is only a transition from one experience to another, from one reality to another. Only this time you spiral upward and no longer descend. You return to your rightful place among the stars, according to Kesheresh. According to Poet Dog, we all resist God at some point in his direct effort upon all of us to connect with him and live and breathe in unity in a resonance of eternal love. Those who don't resist achieve mastery in the end. All others suffer until they also gradually cease to resist. According to Saint Germain through James McConnell, right now you can be and create anything you desire, or even your future life can and will be unlimited. The more you think of it that way, your life is unlimited. What I am capable of is unlimited. There are no limits. The only limitations I have are in the past, in my past programming. According to Samantha Orbild, from now on you will experience a significant inner transformation to embody a sense of true purpose that will allow you to manifest more easily in the world and create change. To achieve this, you need a deep connection with your inner will, your higher self, and the spirit to foster co-creative alignment. Shadow of the Past, Light of the Present by Natalie Glasson. The Andromedans report an energy emerging at this time that may cause turmoil. As the energy penetrates the planetary plane, it twists and turns like a tornado. This whirlwind seeks to bring all the shadows of the past, especially those that hurt you deeply, into your mind and memory. You are passing through two very different realities according to the Syrian High Council through Celia Wilder. In these turbulent times, you must stand firm in your light, for you have already prepared for these difficult times through your inner work and dedication to the light. No one has ever said the spiritual journey is easy. Maintaining the high frequency requires dedication, hard work, and a higher way of being, especially in the very different world of higher consciousness and a heightened state of higher awareness. According to the Intergalactic Council of Andromeda through Celia Wilder, as deception is unraveled, hidden agendas and dark plans are exposed, resulting in a collective movement toward more positive alignment. However, the path to this transformation is not without challenges. War does nothing to prevent it. Rather, it perpetuates a cycle of violence and suffering. Likewise, hatred that does not extinguish hatred. On the contrary, it fuels an endless cycle of animosity and division. Daily message from Kasharas. The divine spark within you transcends all time, space, and dimensions. It is beyond all form. In essence, you are already in all dimensions. However, at this moment, your consciousness is focused on the experiences and frequencies of the third and fourth dimensions. You are not yet fully fifth dimensional. When your consciousness focuses on the fifth dimension and you fully embrace that energy, you will no longer be incarnated in the third and fourth dimensions. You will disappear from the current plane, and at that moment is much closer than many believe. According to Steve Biko, as we move deeper into space, it is unavoidable that everything in the lower frequencies will be left behind. This means that time is limited for the dark forces to continue their plan for world domination, and in fact, they can no longer achieve their goals. However, they prefer to attempt to destroy everything rather than admit defeat. That will not happen, as forces greater than yours watch over the fate of the world and its people. Every soul will eventually find its place and will grow and evolve at lightning speed. So, do not be delusioned by current events, as they will soon pass. And that's all for today. Thanks a lot, dear friends.